Between 1968 and 1972, America launched 9 human missions to the moon, 6 of which successfully touched down, allowing 12 men to walk on the lunar surface. NASA's next chapter of lunar exploration, called Artemis, has the task of not just going to the moon to create a long term human presence on and around it, but also to prepare for ever more complex human mission to Mars. In short, everything we must be able to do here, we must first do here. So, what will an Artemis mission look like? Everything is designed and tested with our most important element in mind, the astronauts. This is their deep space human rated spacecraft called Orion, built in 3 parts: the crew module, where up to 4 astronauts will live and work throughout the flight, the service module, with life support system for the crew and its own engine and fuel reserves, and a launch abort system with engine capable of pulling the crew module to safety during launch should anything go wrong. To accomplish the task of launching our crew and heavy payloads, NASA is building Space Launch System, comprising of a cargo holds, an exploration upper stage, a massive core stage, and 2 extended solid rocket boosters. Altogether, this is world's most powerful rocket, and it exceeds the legendary Saturn V of the Apollo era in numerous ways. Sitting on the launch pad, the entire rocket fuel weighs just over 6 million pounds, 5.2 million of which is just the fuel. Once ignited, there is no stopping what comes next. All 4 RS-25 engine and the solid rocket boosters come to life, thundering our crew upwards. 2 minutes after ignition, the solid rocket boosters are spent and released. 8 minutes after launch, the core stage is depleted and separated. The upper stage fires briefly, placing Orion into parking orbit around the Earth. Here, the crew reconfigure the spacecraft and check system to configure everything is ready for deep space travel. With a go from mission control, the crew reignite the exploration upper stage engine to leave Earth entirely. The exact time of this maneuver is critical to reach a speed that can escape Earth's gravitational pull but also put on Orion on a course that will intersect the moon days later. Once this burn is complete, the upper stage of SLS is jettisoned and the crew on board Orion coast for a several days towards all that awaits them at the moon. Approaching the moon, we see the fundamental difference between Artemis and Apollo. Instead of requiring Orion to serve as an expendable lunar command module or carry a constrained lunar lander, the Artemis mission will take advantage of a different approach: pre-staging. Everything needed for lunar mission will be positioned in advance by commercial and international partners. This includes rovers, science experiments, and human-rated system on the surface. But it also includes a dedicated lunar station in orbit called the Moon, called Gateway. Here, at the station, we can pre-stage a robust lunar lander and establishing a strong communication relation. Designed with open standards, the Gateway can be expanded as new mission and partnership develop, allowing multiple human missions on the Moon at the same time and enabling ongoing science to be conducted even between human missions. The Gateway is also capable of adjusting its orbit to allow access to every part of the moon, something the Apollo mission could not do. But the real key in the approach is placing Gateway in a unique hollow orbit to perfect the maneuver needed for Mars mission. And with a growing list of commercial and international opportunity, Gateway is the ideal hub between Earth and all that lies beyond. Returning to our crew, as they approach Gateway, the Orion must match the elliptical orbit of the station in order to successfully dock. Once on board, pre-selected crew members transfer to the lunar lander while those assigned to Gateway remains on the station. The lunar lander system itself is built for 3 unique steps: descending from the hollow orbit of Gateway down to low lunar orbit, of descending from low lunar orbit to the surface, and once the lunar mission is complete, launching from the surface of the moon and ascending all the way back to the orbit Gateway. Once back abroad, the Orion spacecraft and undocked from Gateway, the crew fire their engines to break out the hollow orbit and once again to sling the spacecraft around the moon, placing it on multi-day trajectory back toward Earth. As they near The end of journey, the space module is released and the crew module is oriented to the shield field. Entering Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, the friction of air slows Orion considerably while also subjecting it to temperature of 5000 degrees. With the Orion now at just 300 miles per hour, a series of parachutes uniquely tested and produced for the moment deploy declaration the craft to just 20 miles per hour for splashdown. With each successful mission, Artemis ushered in the next wave of men and women to explore our moon and prove that together we're ready to go beyond.